Have you ever thought, could there be such a thing as being too generous? As we traverse the winding path of life, we often hold the belief that generosity, in all its forms, is an unimpeachable virtue, a trait that is universally admired and associated with the highest ideals of human character. We are taught from a tender age to share, to give, to place the needs of others before our own. Yet as we delve deeper into the labyrinth of human experience, we find that this universal truth may not be so universal after all. Could it be that our boundless generosity, our unending willingness to give, could lead to unforeseen consequences? Could our ceaseless giving, rather than elevating us, lead us into a quagmire of self-neglect and exploitation? Consider the possibility that our generosity, when unchecked and unbalanced, could become a breeding ground for unrealistic expectations of reciprocity. The more we give, the more others expect us to continue giving. This cycle can sometimes lead to a sense of entitlement among those we give to, and a feeling of resentment within us. Moreover, our excessive generosity might also lead us to sacrifice our own priorities, our own needs, our own well-being. In our effort to help others, we might lose sight of our own needs, forgetting that we too have a right to our own time, our own resources, our own care. And then there is the danger of being seen as weak, as an easy target by those who would take advantage of our kindness. Our generosity may attract needy and opportunistic individuals who see our giving not as a virtue, but as an opportunity to exploit. Lastly, our constant giving might raise suspicions about our motives. In a world where altruism is often met with skepticism, our generosity might be seen not as kindness, but as a ploy for personal gain. So we find ourselves at a crossroads, questioning the very virtue we held dear. What if our excessive generosity is not a virtue, but a vice? As we continue this exploration, let us delve deeper into the Stoic wisdom that might guide us towards a balance, towards a generosity that uplifts rather than weighs down. Let us delve deeper into the potential pitfalls of excessive generosity. Generosity, like any virtue, when in excess, could harm rather than help, creating a ripple effect of unintended consequences. Consider the first pitfall: fostering dependence. When we give excessively, we may inadvertently rob individuals of their self-reliance. The constant influx of aid could make them reliant on external help, stunting their ability to stand on their own 2 feet. It's as if we unintentionally clip their wings, preventing them from learning to fly. Then comes the risk of attracting exploitation. Over-generosity can act like a beacon, drawing those who seek to take advantage without giving back. Like moths to a flame, opportunists are often attracted to those who give too freely, exploiting their kindness for personal gain. Finally, there's the danger of neglecting one's own needs. In our quest to give, we often forget that we too are beings who need care and nurturing. We may sacrifice our own needs, desires, and well-being, draining our resources until we're left running on empty. This self-neglect can lead to burnout, resentment, and a diminished capacity to give in the future. Moreover, excessive generosity can also distort the perception others have of us. We may be seen as weak, as pushovers, and our acts of kindness may be taken for granted. This can lead to a cycle of giving that feels less like a choice and more like an obligation, a cycle that is hard to break. Additionally, our motives may be questioned. People may wonder why we are so generous, and suspicions could arise about ulterior motives, casting a shadow over our good intentions. Excessive generosity may lead to an imbalance that can harm both the giver and the receiver. The art of giving, dear friends, is a delicate balance that needs to be struck with wisdom and discernment, a balance that we will explore further as we delve into the teachings of Stoicism. So join me as we journey further on this path of understanding the power of balanced generosity. Stoic philosophy offers a different perspective on generosity. Stoicism, with its roots in ancient Greece, encourages us to view life through a lens of moderation and wisdom. It tells us that true generosity isn't just about giving more, it's about giving wisely. Consider this. When we pour water into a cup, it becomes beneficial. But if we continue to pour, the water overflows and it ceases to be useful. It can even become harmful, causing a mess or ruining what's around it. The same principle applies to generosity. Too much of it without thought or discernment can lead to harm rather than good. Stoicism invites us to embrace the virtue of moderation. In other words, it's about finding the right balance between giving too little and giving too much. It's about understanding that our resources, be it time, energy, or material wealth, are finite, and we need to allocate them wisely. Moreover, Stoicism underscores the importance of self-care. It reminds us that we can't pour from an empty cup. Before we can truly be generous to others, we must first be generous to ourselves. We must respect our own needs, our own boundaries, and our own well-being. This isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. Lastly, Stoicism teaches us discernment. Not all acts of giving are equal. Some are driven by compassion, others by obligation or guilt. Some help others to grow, while others foster dependency. Stoicism encourages us to give in ways that respect the autonomy and dignity of the receiver. It prompts us to ask, is our giving empowering or disempowering? Is it constructive or destructive? Through Stoicism, we can learn to give wisely, not just generously. We can learn to give in a way that respects both our boundaries and the boundaries of others. We can learn to give in a way that promotes growth, independence, and mutual respect. And in doing so, we can find the true essence of generosity. Let's explore how we can apply these Stoic principles in our daily lives. To navigate the delicate balance of generosity, we must first become masters of our own emotions and desires. This is not to say we should suppress them, but rather understand them and discern when they serve us and when they might lead us astray. In the realm of giving, this means recognizing when our desire to give stems from a healthy place of abundance, and when it is driven by a need for validation or fear of rejection. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our internal values and self-worth rather than seeking approval from others. Next, we must learn to set boundaries. This can be a difficult task, as we often equate saying no with being selfish or unkind. However, it is crucial to remember that our time, energy, and resources are finite. By indiscriminately giving them away, we risk depleting ourselves and becoming unable to help anyone, including ourselves. Setting boundaries is not about shutting others out, but about respecting our own needs and capacities. It's about understanding that we cannot pour from an empty cup. Then comes the practice of discernment. Not all acts of giving are created equal. Some are genuinely beneficial, creating a positive ripple effect in the world. Others may enable harmful behaviors or contribute to a cycle of dependency. Being discerning in our generosity means choosing wisely where our resources go, ensuring they bring about the most good. Finally, prioritizing self-care is an act of generosity towards oneself. It is a recognition that you too are deserving of kindness and care. By taking care of ourselves, we ensure that we are in the best position to help others when they truly need it. By applying these Stoic principles, we can cultivate a healthier, more balanced approach to generosity. Remember, the aim is not to stop giving, but to give in a way that respects both our own well-being and the well-being of those we aim to help. Balanced generosity is not just beneficial for us, but also for those around us. This wisdom, rooted in the Stoic philosophy, is a guiding light that illuminates the path to a harmonious life. Imagine a scale, one side bearing the weight of your generosity, the other carrying your personal needs and boundaries. When these two are in equilibrium, you embody balanced generosity. This is not a state of compromise, but rather a state of harmony, where you give without self-deprivation and receive without guilt. The beauty of balanced generosity lies in its capacity to foster healthier relationships. When we give excessively, we risk breeding resentment or dependency in those we aim to help. But when we give in a balanced manner, we empower others, helping them to stand on their own feet. This fosters mutual respect and deepens our connections. Moreover, balanced generosity promotes self-respect. By acknowledging our own needs and setting boundaries, we honor ourselves. This self-respect then radiates outward, influencing how others perceive and treat us. In this way, balanced generosity becomes a shield, protecting us from exploitation and enabling us to a place of strength and abundance. And let's not forget, balanced generosity contributes to social equality. When we give excessively to a few, we inadvertently widen the chasm of inequality. But by distributing our generosity more evenly and thoughtfully, we help bridge this gap. We become agents of change, fostering a more balanced and equitable society. So, my dear friends, let's strive to cultivate balanced generosity. Let's give not until it hurts, but until it feels right. Let's respect our own needs as much as we respect the needs of others. Let's remember that generosity, like all virtues, thrives in balance. The power of balanced generosity lies in its ability to uplift both the giver and the receiver, creating a cycle of positivity and respect. This is the wisdom of the Stoics, a wisdom that is as relevant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. Embrace this wisdom and let it guide you towards a life of harmony and fulfillment. To be generous is indeed a virtue, but to be excessively generous can be a vice. As we have journeyed through the perils of excessive giving, the wisdom of Stoicism has illuminated a path forward. The key lies in balanced generosity, giving that values your own well-being as much as it does others. Stoicism teaches us to manage our giving, to distinguish the worthy from the unworthy, to love ourselves as we love others. Let us strive to be generous but also wise, for in the balance of these two virtues lies the path to true fulfillment.